Okay, welcome back to the Men Profits podcast.
Yes.
Yep.
We're back again. We got two different angles. Got the little GoPro, and we got the big
It's
camera.
up there.
Yeah, it's up there. It's getting all three of us in there. Yeah. So today, the topic for today is he commits to growth and production, especially spiritual fruit. And obviously, we're back where we were the first time in the first episode.
Where it all began.
Yeah, Brad is back for the second time.
Yeah. yeah.
Ben and I are back for the 8th time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways.
I think we want to break this up into three parts. Naturally, because he commits to growth, he commits to production, and then he also commits to spiritual fruit.
Yeah.
We'll kind of go over each of those, I think, individually.
That's valid.
So a question I kind of have to start is, what do we think separates these three things? Just to kind of clarify before we move in. So I can start by giving one thing really quick. So I guess I didn't really think too much about this, but I mean, we start with growth, right? We start by growing closer to God and growing in Him and His Word and all that. And then I think it's kind of like an assembly line, and then we start to see production of us doing stuff and reaching out and produce. We'll go more in depth on each of these, obviously, producing relationships, whatever, all that. And then from this growing and producing, we see spiritual fruit form, and we'll go over all those. And I think that's just the difference between things. I think it's like an assembly line almost.
Yeah.
That works
Yeah.
well together.
They're not the exact same thing, but I feel like,
They all tie in.
yeah, because growth could be, I guess, spiritual, mental, and physical, all in one, and then production is kind of, I guess, the steps to growth, and then, yeah, you're right, and then spiritual fruit is to production to growth.
Product, yeah.
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 Exactly.
I think you just went over what are the similarities and how they all work together. We kind of already.
They're all intertwined.
Yeah.
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 Next question, kind of thingy-bobber that we have.
Thingy me a bobber.
What are some ways that we can grow or have seen spiritual growth in our own lives? If anyone has any real life examples, bring them up now.
Wait, where are you finding these questions?
At the top. Did it not update?
I don't think so.
Or you guys just don't have it?
No. It's fine. What was the question again?
He said what are ways that you've seen it and real life examples for yourself?
In yourself, other people's, or what are some ways that we can grow?
Oh, just growth.
Yeah,
Or-
this is just going over growth. How can we do it, or how have you seen it in your own life or in others?
I would just say
You can
consist. What?
answer. Well, sorry.
Only I can answer?
I can answer.
I was just. I was
Screw you, buddy.
No,
I'm done.
We were just both looking at it, so I was
Yeah.
only you can answer.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Yeah. Okay, Smokey.
No.
I would say commitment. I guess commitment's probably number one to growth.
Yeah.
So you can't grow when you just, I guess, do something once and then. I mean, depending on what it is, but you can't grow when you do something once. You gotta kind of stick with it, and production goes along with that. I mean, if you work in not the retail industry, but just the not market. Oh my gosh,
Well, buddy,
like a bakery.
we're not on production yet, all right? Slow it down.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Well, no. I'm
kidding.
saying because if you a bakery, for example, right? They got production, right? They have to produce a certain amount of bread, right? Bread, cupcakes, whatever, and they can't get enough growth without enough production. And once, I guess growth obviously comes from production because when you produce a certain amount, you're only going to grow to a certain amount, and then once you produce more and go bigger, for example, something like Subway, going from one restaurant to chain restaurants, they're growing. If they just stuck with one restaurant, they would stick to the same growth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
see growth, like the obvious analogy would be in like a plant, like and in the fact that you need like basic nutrients such as you need soil, you need like the sun, you need water, and that's all different things in spiritual growth, right? Your Bible, your prayer life, your community, all that. So that's all important. A real life example that I can see in all of us is, this started off as nothing, and then it went to a life group, and now it's a podcast.
Yeah.
I can just see that it's just growing over time.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we talked about it at first, and then we hung out and did a couple sessions just talking and stuff, and now we got videos going. So
yeah. And I think in the future, like after explaining these nine whatchamacallits,
Topics.
Yeah, 9 topics. We could go into like, just reading in general.
Yeah, different types of videos as well.
Yeah, that
so
too.
We can continue to do stuff, and like.
I got some ideas, and
yeah. We can do some fun stuff. Switch it up a little bit, so just keeping a little status quo going.
Yeah, we're 6 out of 9. This is 6 out of 9, so we're getting there.
Yeah,
we're 2/4 of the 2/3 of the way. I can do math.
There you go. You got it.
He's mathing over there.
My bad.
Yeah, that's my little thing. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add really quick or no.
No, I'm pretty like you said. I think my best example of growth that we have going on is like how our group has expanded.
Yeah,
for
sure.
I think it was a great example.
It's kind of just, the more you stick with something, you get
ideas to make it grow.
Yeah, exactly. You get used to the routine that you're stuck in, and then when you see something that's slightly different, then you're like, ooh, that might be interesting, and then you act on it because you're bored. You're doing the same thing over and over again. So, yeah.
Yep. Going back to like one of our first verses that we were talking about, in like Romans, like be encouraged by each other's faith or something like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And growth. I think we covered that pretty well.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And we can move on more to like production and like what it means to kind of like commit to production. Like, we can think of like what's like involved in production. For example, like consistency. I think of like mass production, you know, like stuff like that. How can we relate that back to our own lives and our own
spiritual lives? Yeah.
Spiritual lives,
like kind of connecting to what it was before, or what I said before, is increasing production is kind of just, I guess, trying a little bit of everything. Because oh wow, I didn't realize when my MacBook fell off the car, it got that too.
Oh dang.
It's whatever. Shoot. Yeah, when you're, in a business standpoint, once again, when you're running a business, you and you give the same thing over and over again to your customers, then you want to experiment on what people think or people like. So like connecting your Bible, you gotta try more things that you like, in like a spiritual standpoint. Going to the church, doing a life group, watching videos online, just different stuff like that to create more production. Because, once you find something you like more, because a lot of people might not like, sitting in a church for an hour and watching a sermon. They might tend to something else that they like more, which kind of leads them to other things that creates a stronger bond.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of just like even companies, like there has to be some terms of like rigidity to like what they're selling to their customers, but then on top of that, like if it becomes too monotonous, like the customers will either become stale of it or they'll look elsewhere for like the same type of product but with different offerings to it. So I feel like there has to be some like compound, like if you look at other companies and see what they're doing right, take that and put it in towards your own ideals.
Yeah. Plateau.
Yeah.
It's like Coke. like the drink Coke.
Yeah.
I mean, at first there was just one flavor, and then they created multiple, and then
But they
everyone
still
else
have the original.
started creating
But
multiple.
they have other flavors to offer
Yeah.
as well
And
now.
that's like the only one like a lot of people ever get is just the original.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like the original
Yeah.
that they go to the
Either
other
diets
ones 'cause they
or
like it
yeah.
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
diet too. I feel like Diet Coke is more popular than
Yeah,
Coke
I was
now.
about to say. So I was like, a lot of people still drink more diet than I think
Yeah.
regular at this point.
I was
No, it
thinking,
doesn't make sense.
I was thinking like the flavors, like the Coke cherry.
Like vanilla, cherry,
Yeah, that too.
Um,
People just want to try something new.
yeah.
Yep.
The way I kind of saw it from like the mass production standpoint, and also like producing like things in your life, such as one that really stood out to me is like relationships. And like you were saying, like it's different for everyone. So not
Mhm.
everyone's gonna have the same walk and they're not gonna be called to the same things.
Yeah.
But some people are really good at just like talking to people and making relationships, and
Yeah.
if you can do that,
Yeah.
that is such a good way to like produce more
Connections, different
Yeah,
ways
Disciple,
to
let me create more
yeah.
disciples.
I feel like
yeah.
I've had plenty of friend groups at this point with like different people and such, and like as you can make more and more relationships too, you start to realize like good and bad ones, or just like you start to realize, okay, like I like these characteristics from these certain people.
Yeah.
Why am I not having that in this friend group? What is like the cause and factor of that? And then like either trying to discuss that, or like from my example, I've had to drop some friends just because like they just weren't what I was looking for anymore at my point, like in my life, where I was just like, I value certain things that they don't. I think it's time to just let that ship sail, and if like they want to come back later, things will have to change.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh shoot, this was right on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, when it comes to like what you were talking about, like making disciples and producing more people to work for God, like kind of what stands out to me and like the relationship factor of that is having our like love overflow to them.
Yeah.
And we're called to be there's this verse, I think it's a verse, it says that we're called to be ambassadors of Christ, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
And
I think I know
that's
what
a
you're
really
talking
good
about. Yeah.
term.
Yeah, it is.
Because an ambassador doesn't go to a different country and is like, oh yeah, my country's this, my country's that, it's better this way. They're not cocky, they're not whatever, They're
No.
really, they're supposed to be really
They're supposed to
nice.
represent what their country stands for,
Yeah, they're supposed
and
to
not
be,
bragging about it.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like really, like we have the love of Jesus, right? And it's an overflow.
Instead of
us.
talking about it, proving it through action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're supposed to show that to other people, and people can see that.
Yeah.
And when people see that in an ambassador, they're like, "Oh, is everyone from there like you?
Yeah.
I want to be there."
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're called to do.
I have an example of that when I was working at that summer camp. It was pretty great. Like just seeing the change in like the kids around us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool part of that. Yeah.
No, yeah, I went to like a mission trip a couple years back, and I went to
Where to?
It was just to Montana.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just like it was a little small town called Knoxon. And yeah, I went there, and just like getting there, the kids, it's an outreach. So as much as we're there for them, we're also there for the kids from our church, because a lot of them struggle with their families or whatever, and they need help, and they need kind of like an escape for a little bit.
Well, I bet it gives them a good example of like while they were there, like other people struggle too.
Yeah.
And like they can bond on that.
Yeah, it helps with a lot of things, but yeah, you can just see when they get there versus the last couple days, like going up and they're like telling stories about like their home and stuff like this, and they're really just like opening up, and you see all this like cool things happen, and it's an experience. But seeing them get baptized is really cool.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's a hard thing to do, to be so
vulnerable to
loving.
Yeah,
like,
especially like
As a man.
yeah, as a man, and also in like such a quick time. Like it takes normally a lot of people a long time for them to start opening up to people. I feel like there's some vulnerability that like is good, and then there's some that like Depends on who you like, the group
Yeah.
you're around.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not good
Yeah.
to just like let everything
No, yeah.
flow out of you, obviously. But yeah, and
Yeah,
it's like
because what? No, sorry. Go.
no, I've been talking for a while.
Oh no, I was gonna say, well, yeah, like saying to that, like if you guys didn't know me until like today, and then I all of a sudden just like walked in the room like ready to film a podcast, and then I just like spill out my whole life story and just start bawling my eyes out, you guys are gonna be like, I don't want
That's
to talk to
crazy.
this guy
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's two different reactions to that because there's one where it's super like, who are you? Why are you
Yeah,
doing this? Or you're
right.
like, that's pretty cool that they feel that they can just spill like that. But it depends again on the certain person. Because
Yeah.
like, like I don't know if it's just me, but like right when I meet someone, I kind of get a particular vibe on them,
Yeah.
and it's
yeah, for
either
sure.
like I'm interested in learning more about this person, or it's just gonna be a handshake and I walk away. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Well, yeah, and two, it's like, is this person? I mean, is this person actually like care about the people around them, or are they
yeah,
just like doing it to try to get eyes on them?
yep,
That's why God gave us brains
yep.
Yeah,
to be able to.
that's
To
true.
ascertain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's certain. I mean, once you start getting closer, once you become a Christian, a stronger Christian, you start to have eyes that no one else has. I mean, as a Christian,
Be able
you
to look
see-
through different lenses that most
Yeah.
people don't.
yeah, you
Yeah.
see like the little things in your life that are like, why is someone doing that? Why is this there? This shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that, when we're like meeting new people, and obviously, um, it's good to kind of make that judgment, right, of what kind of person they are. But it's also good to
Reserve. I think I know where you're going with that. Where
it's
not
also,
complete judgment on them.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't
it's
pass
good.
judgment on them immediately. However, you can have an idea of who the person is, but have it still be malleable until like you hear what they have to say or
Yeah.
see actions
Yeah,
that they
show them, show them the love that they need,
And that goes both ways. Not
Yeah.
just like I think this is a good person or I think it's a bad person. It's just like
yeah,
you need to reserve that, keep that ideal in mind just in case.
Yeah.
But at the same time, be ready for that to change as you get to know the person. But yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's good just to present yourself, make yourself presentable for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way.
Oh. Yeah.
Totally.
Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
No, not the statue of Liberty, bro.
Statue of Liberty.
Literally. You look tired as hell. Tired, man. What time did you go to sleep? Oh no.
You what?
Warframe.
He's been playing Warframe nonstop.
Warframe?
That's what all this guy thinks about.
Warframe's
Warframe.
fun.
What is Warframe?
It's a free game. Oh yeah, someone went to play the other day and you were like, what is Warframe? It's
I think
just
I
a
said
free-
something about it.
It's like a free game that came out like 10 years ago.
Oh, that's
But
when I was like,
it has-
dinosaurs joined.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He came in and was like, if anyone's gonna get a girlfriend, it's Ben, and then he left. What a goob.
Gooby goober.
Yeah.
What's your next question? My bad.
What separates production with spiritual fruit, as they can often be lumped together as one? I feel like, because I feel like production is like you're making these things, and spiritual fruit is like
You're
almost
growing
a
it.
product. So it's like
It's almost like, well, spiritual fruit is like the feelings that you put into it, kind of.
yeah,
Because, I mean, I feel like it's kind of any business or like any family business compared to like, I mean, I don't know if it's the right
I
thing
know what
that-
you're trying to say.
like the government, because like the government's production is not built on spiritual fruit, obviously,
No,
but it's built on, I mean,
not cash
Money.
machine.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
built on money. So like, I mean, you got to think of production as like, how can, what I'm producing, either in my life or in everyone else's life, how can it benefit them? How can it give them, love, joy, peace, kindness, all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference that I see is just that production is almost like a what am I trying to say? Spiritual fruit is like a finished product almost kind of. But
Yeah.
I don't really know how to. Not a finished product, but it's a result
Yeah.
of what you're doing. It's like reaping what you're sowing almost.
The fruit is almost like a result of the production.
Okay.
Back on track,
Are
yeah.
we back to fur?
No.
Wow.
Chris
Yeah,
was
you're
right.
right.
This is a
It's
psych
like-
ward. We need to get you a straight jacket.
Watch this.
I'm a clone. What? Well, this part's not gonna be in it.
Yeah.
I know, I'm playing with it. You should put that part in with you. Like, get away from me!
My microwave speaks Korean.
Mounted suits are here for you, Blake.
You guys are trying to preach mental health to men.
In the middle of the podcast, it just cuts over and I'm just sitting in the corner.
Leave me alone!
Yeah.
Akira!
What I probably should have gone over before is what the fruits actually are. So I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4,
9.
6, 9.
It says, what are the 9 fruits of the Spirit?
That would be love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
So much emphasis on the faithfulness.
Yeah.
Faithfulness!
No, so the question I have to go with that is, what do we see kind of ourselves and people around us lacking, in the most with which of those fruits do we see lacking?
Gentleness.
Gentleness?
Yeah, just the way that people speak and act towards others.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I think partly a big part of where I have interpreted that is a lot of people, it's not subconscious, but they just don't think in terms of different actions of how it can affect other people, and there needs to be some level of self-awareness of what you do affects other people. I feel like a lot of people nowadays don't have self-awareness of okay, what am I doing right now and who's it affecting?
Yeah.
Is there anything that I can do to either fix that? That's happened a lot in my terms of different friendships that I had, and
Yeah.
have had to remove a couple people just because of that, where it's
Yeah.
just there's plenty of times where me looking out for them, I was like, hey man, this shouldn't be how you should act. There's other things that you could do that would benefit not just yourself but other people around you, and multiple times I've stated that, and they just decided not to make a choice for that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's in terms of just being either lazy or being selfish, where they're I don't want to have to think about doing stuff like that all the time.
Yeah. And when you when you get in an argument with someone, it should be
You can come over here, guy.
Alright, to get out of the power rocker though.
Power rocker.
Fine, I'll come over.
I would say it's well, when you get into an argument with someone, it's not nowadays most of the time. If you don't know the person, it's not just an argument of a calm speech and debate argument. It's
Heated.
two people who are in screamo.
Yeah.
One of them at least.
A lot of people nowadays are extremes.
Yelling at you.
Yeah.
I think
Because whoever's louder wins the conversation.
Yes. I think what you guys are talking about ties into self-control. That's one of the spiritual fruits. It's basically what you guys just said. I mean, being able to hold yourself back from this guy right here. Being able to just hold yourself back from saying things that you want to say, and doing what you want to do, and realizing that what you need to do is different from that.
It's a huge one.
Because like you said, self-awareness?
Self-awareness, yeah.
Governs how you affect other people, but self-control governs how you affect yourself.
Yeah.
Everything you do affects you some way or another. So if you don't have self-control, you can't effectively govern the other instances in your life, like kindness, gentleness, love,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, self-control is not putting your keys in one hand and a beer in the other hand.
I know Jimmy Buffett just went, but like, dang.
I must have no self-control.
20 margaritas later, driving right through Margaritaville.
Applebee's is only 10 miles away.
No. That would be funny if it was just Chris for like 1 minute.
Dude, I was really thinking about it.
Chris came, Chris left.
Chris came?
That says my little
Okay.
2 cents.
I think another one that is struggle with a lot is patience. I think since everything is so fast, like I see myself struggling with this. Like when my mom asks me to do something, I know this is like really generic, but like,
Hey,
you know,
it's your example, you know?
she's my mom.
Stuff that happens in your life.
Yeah. She's like asking me to do stuff, and I'm just like, and I like make a big deal out of it, and obviously that happens with.
I
Like,
feel like that's not patience though. That's just like procrastination.
No, it's like laziness mixed with patience. I don't have enough patience to sit there and just be like, okay, I need to do this.
Yeah.
Like I can just go help my mom. I'm too rushed. I feel like
Because you're valuing your time over the time that you would spend doing like 10 minutes of your mom's chores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a really bad one with patience last night that cost me $20. Just playing,
You little goob.
just playing a game. I really wanted something, and I knew I could get it like for free. And we were working on getting it for free for like an hour and a half. And then I was like, okay, didn't get it. I'm
Screw
just gonna
this.
pay for it. Like screw this.
Yeah.
Pay for it. And we go run
Yeah.
it on accident like an hour later, and I get like 2 or 3 of them. I was so
Oh.
pissed. It was like $20 worth of stuff. So
Yeah.
if I was
Yeah.
a little more patient, like.
Yeah.
I think a good portion of that going into patience is a lot of like instant gratification. I think that's what gets people nowadays. Where like,
Amazon.
yeah, if like
Oh yeah.
people want to spend the least amount of time to get a reward, and if they aren't rewarded for their time, then they aren't patient, and like they'll just go do something else or spend money or anything like that. Where it's just like,
It's not about getting the reward anymore. It's about having the reward.
yeah,
Like the process used to be the finding self gratification through reward and self reward, but
Yeah.
now it's just like you can get whatever you want for a little extra cash. So
yeah,
I think the most important sense of patience is in relationships with people, is being able to wait on people. I think that's a really hard one because it's easy in relationships and with people to be like, to just kind of like up and leave or like, you know, whatever. You know, there is times
Yeah.
where like that needs to be done. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
yeah,
But like it's really hard to sit there and wait for someone.
yeah.
You know, 'cause, like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That has been one of the hard things for me. Or like I have made so many friends now where it's just like there's some where I'm like, do I really like need to wait on this person?
yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'll just drop them. But then there's other times where like I've devoted enough time and energy and resources to certain people where like I gave them too much time to change, and like when it didn't happen, it was just like, dog, really? Like I waited on you, and you're all right.
that's
So-
just like a healthy boundary you had to establish.
Yeah.
Because you get to a point where you can only give so much, you have to put up. Those
Yeah, that is
boundaries.
also another
Yeah,
thing.
right.
Is like time management, and not just time, but just like management in general of just like how much effort and like can I put towards a certain relationship without like ruining myself.
Yeah, there's only so much you can like put into something without. I mean, trying to help someone with something, but then at one point they're just gonna have to do the rest because
No.
Right.
it's not a lot that you can do.
Yeah, at some point you get over involved and you give too much of self away. So, I mean, it falls down to them and it becomes their responsibility, and it's their responsibility to look out for you as well in that instance. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're also called to like going along that path of like helping others is we're called to serve and to help, expecting nothing in return.
Yeah, that's
So-
a big one.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if that directly ties into patience, but it's one of them. I don't know.
it kind of can, because you have to have patience to observe someone else in their own surroundings and in their own situation, to take yourself out of self and
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
observe someone else takes
Be
a lot of
selflessness.
patience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I mean, a great example is volunteering.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I just volunteered to take pictures, but like, I mean, it's just the patience that I had to put into like, after I got home from that, I had to like set aside a time that didn't really give me anything back, but to like edit the photos and then send them over,
Yeah.
which like took a decent amount of time, but
Because you know that's your obligation.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you don't
right.
do it, then you're just kind of a bad person.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I'll take these photos for you.
No, yeah, but it's hard when you're doing that, like kind of like when what Blake said, volunteer work, because like it can really easily get into your mind of just like I don't have to be here. I don't have to be doing this. And
What's in it for me?
Yeah.
It's that mindset that can come in.
yeah, and that's like such a hard thing to do. Just to
Find that personal gratification that you can get from it, and to continue to work off of that. And on top of that too, like if certain scenarios too, when you're doing like selfless work like that too, you could end up getting notoriety from like word of mouth. People are like, have you heard like this guy's doing this?
yeah,
Like what a cool guy, and then everyone like wants to support you
back
because
to the ambassador.
yeah, yep, yeah.
Yeah. Someone help me.
Say the
please.
first thing that comes to your mind.
Hello.
Hi.
It was I don't know. It was something.
That's a good
about,
one, actually.
It was something about patience, guys.
Have patience with yourself, and you'll find it.
Patience is a
Yeah,
virtue.
yeah.
For those of you who don't know, because I just Googled it, forbearance. If you guys don't know what that word means, it means patience, self-control, restraint, and tolerance.
No one has that.
Everything wrapped together.
Yeah.
Forbearance?
Yeah. Forbearance.
Ooh.
Forbearance.
Tolerance is one that we can go on in depth in the future.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Dealing with stuff.
How much tolerance you have to certain things and certain people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to yourself.
No.
How much tolerance is giving up your beliefs, or what tolerance actually is? That's a huge topic.
Yeah.
But that's not for right now. I guess we can move on.
Fine. Okay.
Okay.
Have patience with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
Calm it down. My last little question is how do we obtain these spiritual fruit? And how can we, by answering that question, link the past two little topics we had, growth and production, to spiritual fruit?
I feel like you can attain them like one way is to observe other people that are around you and to try to ascertain like what are good qualities that they have, and then try to pick out and like use them for yourself in your own daily life. And then also like obviously the Bible, there's different lessons for all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, I mean, all you have to do is use your brain when you're like talking to someone. I mean,
just like, use the thing that has ridges to...
Wait, yours has ridges?
Oh no.
Have some self-control, Blake. Use some gentleness here, please.
You have to, no, I'm saying, you have to use your brain in the fact that like when you have a conversation with someone and like what they're talking about or like how they're talking about it, it's easy to see how people are seeing wrong or like different in the way that they need to be like helped or whatnot,
I think finding... Oh no, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say our people's actions, but
Yeah. No, I think that ties into it. Because I think at least for me, finding those fruits lies within the journey behind finding those fruits. I can get like so consumed with trying to be happy or trying to find love for myself or for others or for all these other things that I neglect the fact that all the times I was happy, all the times I was in love or had all the wonderful things
You weren't
around
thinking
me,
about it.
I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't searching for them. It was just, I didn't know I loved someone because one moment I stopped and said, I love you. Something happened in the moment, sparks flew, and I didn't realize everything I had back then. So I think now with where I'm at in my life, kind of like starting fresh, I'm so consumed with trying to find those fruits that I'm actually putting myself back.
Yeah.
I'm not even giving myself the opportunity to find those fruits because I'm so consumed with being happy that I never will be happy.
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like that is the perfect example of that is always people like reminiscing about nostalgia, and they're like, oh dude, remember these times that we had.
Grass is always greener.
Yes. I think it's much harder for people to live in the present and to find things that they're thankful for now, that they'll be like, dude, I know like right now and where I'm at in my life, when I'm like older, I'm gonna look back and be like, dude, those are some great times because of X, Y, and Z. Like I feel like that is a much harder topic for people to like grasp. They're always just like, ah, dude, I wish I was still back in high school. Wish I was still doing this. I wish I was still hanging out with this particular
I wish I
group.
wasn't still in high school.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I mean,
Well, I don't miss the first 2 years of high school, but like doing TCC was kind of put it with me in like a weird like I was in college, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was I had freedom those last 2 years, so it was great.
Yeah.
You know?
The way that I see it, how we can obtain these is, and relating it back to growth and production, is when we grow closer to God and when we grow in that relationship with Him. It says in the Bible that the fruit is going to be byproducts of that, right? So when we grow closer to God, we grow further from the world, meaning that we grow further from those sins and those past things in our lives, and we go closer to these fruits in what we're trying to obtain in them. And so yeah, that's how we get it from like growth, growing closer to God, and production, you know, is us putting the work in our lives, you know, through relationships, through whatever it is that we're producing or we're trying to produce. And I think just over time, yeah, just when that spirit just kind of gets established in you, you can just see it more, just like working in your life.
Yeah.
And you know, because it's really hard because, you know, we as humans are generically evil, right? We generically have that corruption of the fallen world, and it's the spirit inside us that guides us, right? And that's what is good, and that's what leads us to pursue these good things and fruits and good actions and all that. So that's what I think.
I think that's why God or religion in general helps keep people accountable, because what Brad was saying to what I had said was a lot of people struggle to live in the present. Like, when I need to humble myself, I'll just straight up say, listen, I got 2 arms, 2 legs, a good body, a good face, like, I'm alive. What more could I ask for? There are people that don't have that. But, like, when I'm not able to say that to myself and I don't have my faith about me, I don't have, like, God to answer to. I can't say, okay, well, life is down, but I have God.
Yeah.
You know, God's here for me, God loves me, and
Yeah.
God will steer me straight and help me as long as I help myself.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, like, having someone or some higher power to hold you accountable is so important in those times.
Yeah.
I think back to like the song. It's like called like "In the Eye of the Storm," and it's talking just about how God's like the anchor, just like in that storm,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like it's always there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always there to. The anchor can not only like humble you, like what you're saying, but it can also just keep you in place when you need.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a reliable constant that's always there, and that's why we just need to pursue that. I think.
I think one of the ways that instead of like looking on like my current present situation of like I'm glad I have this, one thing that I do is like I'll look back into times where I wasn't having the greatest of times and like compare the similarities from like I'm doing so much better now than I was back then because of X, Y, and Z, and like I know I'm at least working towards like better things because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing that we can do is, because like oftentimes like doing good in other people's lives will do good for you, is we can try, because we're called to live like Jesus did, right?
Yep.
That He's kind of our example. That's what we're supposed to strive after. And if we can be that anchor in other people's lives, like how Jesus is the anchor in our lives,
Yeah.
that goes off into the ambassador thing again. But it's really just like, that's so important when people see
Yep.
that.
I
Like,
think
when they see like you putting it in the effort and staying with them,
Yeah.
when they really need it, you know.
that's one of my favorite things is like seeing the positive change that like you leave in other people's lives.
Yeah.
Where like you can like see like for like one of the examples I have, like when I went to college, I remember one of the girls that I used to hang out with, I introduced her to anime and she completely changed her course. Like she was gonna do like some law school stuff and then went into animation drawing and like switched colleges.
Ruined her life.
Dude, I
She's
legit
gonna be a lawyer.
no, but like she found happiness in it, and it just like
she's gonna be the one that
I thought it was I totally was like a side character in her story, but it like I don't know, it just like made me feel good. Where I'm like, yeah, because I was just like, dude, like I made her find her life calling, or like she found that's what she wanted to do,
Yeah.
and like I just feel like certain things like that, you just get like a sense of like that's God working you on other people's lives.
Yeah.
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 And that's why it's so important just to always be there and to always be
Yeah.
and to always try and be like Jesus, because we really don't know what's going on
Absolutely.
and who we affect. Like,
And anything could.
Yeah, I didn't know that was gonna happen at all.
Yeah.
I just was just
Well,
hanging out, doing what I do.
Word, I don't. It starts with an S. That's all I know. There's a word that just like explains that like, it's the thought that everyone else has a life that's exactly like yours.
Sentience? Or no?
No.
Sentience is like the thought
No,
of being alive.
Yeah. Or just
Yeah.
having like.
Existing.
Yes. Yeah.
I forgot the word. My sister wanted to get it tattooed on her, but it's
Remember, you said this last time and you also forgot it then too.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
You can't remember this word. It's been like months.
Chat, what's the word?
Chat.
Yeah, chat. What's the word?
Chat.
I've been seeing so many
Forbearance.
jinxie clips, bro. He just kicks the camera. That camera's strong as hell.
You gotta do the charge up.
Yeah, or he's like, okay, chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't remember the word, but yeah, you just gotta think of the fact that like everyone else is not a side character to your life.
Right.
Everyone has their own lives that you are also part of, but not, the main person of.
Which goes into our generation's issue with selflessness.
Oh, everyone
Yeah.
thinks it's all about them. That's
Yeah.
the issue. Is
Yeah.
like, yeah, everyone's super self-centered now, and I feel like a part of that too has to be played with like
Yeah.
the rise of technology that we have today.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of like team building that goes on anymore.
Because social
or anything like
status
that.
didn't
Yeah.
exist. There wasn't a reason to personally climb the social hierarchy.
No.
And
No.
people are so willing to live their lives with these like rose-colored glasses on. I mean, they will like lie through their teeth
Yeah.
about what they do, how
Yep.
much money they make, like everything. They just change their lives into who they are online, like
Yeah.
just, like a completely different reality.
Yeah, 'cause that's all they get examples of is like the people that are making good money or just like living the life that they want to live are online doing that.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like the people that are also online doing that don't exactly have that life. That is
No,
just what they're
it's a false
portraying.
reality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
A lot of people have shown what millions of TikTok followers will get you, and it's not a lot of money.
Like,
It's
no.
not any
$0.
money at all. Zero.
Yeah.
I just saw one recently. Some guy was like, "Here, I have so and so many million followers." Let me
Oompa-ville?
pull up. Maybe it was on my
I-
YouTube Shorts.
Oh, really?
He just recently posted, and he was like,
You watch
"Here's how much
YouTube
money
Shorts,
I
guy?
have."
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, no, Oompa-ville. He's a big YouTuber. He has like over 1 million on
Does he have a
TikTok.
mustache?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. Okay.
yeah, he has
I
like
saw his
a
video.
mullet that goes
Yeah,
like, yeah. Oh my gosh, I watched the video yesterday, and he was just explaining that I mean, people have such big egos that have like millions of followers, and they say they have like so much money, but he says he looked at like his analytics or whatever for TikTok, and he hasn't earned a single dollar.
Yeah, you have to digitally market and socially market alongside TikTok to
Yeah.
make any sort of money.
Ads.
But then that means you have to be a product or you have to
Yeah,
sell a product.
Which
or,
makes you look like a sellout, which
You are.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
which you are.
you're
at
no
that
longer a
point.
content creator at that point. You're
Yeah.
a sellout. You're an ad. You are a living ad.
Yeah, at that point you're not producing what you
I feel
want
like
to produce.
That is a good example. Like when streaming services came out and all that jazz. Like it was just shows, and then they started adding an ad in the front of the show, and then they add a couple ads in front of the
Hulu.
show,
Because
Oh
they're
my
and then
God.
they started adding ads every 15 minutes,
Yeah.
and then
Hulu sucks. So
like I remember
bad.
YouTube had like one ad that you can skip in 5 seconds,
Uh-huh.
and now it's like a 30-second ad, and there's two of them.
Yeah,
And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? And then you have to pay for the service just to get rid of the ad.
That's
Like,
a whole
no,
nother monopoly.
And then-
they're trying to knock down
yeah,
cable completely.
yeah, and I've noticed it on TikTok too now, where like when I was using it before, it was
There's
just,
so
I was
many
swiping
ads on
through.
TikTok.
dude, there's a ton of ads now on TikTok, and then on top of that too, I've been getting a lot of people on my feed that are like, it's just a video on their account, but it's talking about their life. I'm like, I don't want to watch your
YouTube
freaking
Shorts
life.
doesn't sound too bad, does it?
Not anymore.
Yeah,
Until they add ads to it.
something that's like really kind of going off the rails here for like me, like wait, what?
You're going off the rails.
Something that's going off the
I was
rails.
gonna say something that's kind of going off the rails from the topic.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I meant to say.
Of course.
Is 2 podcasts ago, me and Derek were talking about and
Tupac?
like 2 podcasts.
Two
Oh,
podcasts.
Tupac. Yeah.
Derek brought this
All
up,
those
and he
old-
was talking about how like he thinks, and I agree with him, that pride is the king of all sins, and it's
Yeah.
it's a catalyst.
Huge one, man.
And that just like perfectly ties into kind of what you guys were saying. I forget what was happening before the ad talk.
You were talking about how people show like a certain aspect of their lives that's not really their life
Or
on
people
on
just
social
carry
media,
enough pride to lie to themselves and everybody else.
Yeah, or you
Yeah.
just get such a big of an ego.
or people like
Gain like 2 followers.
talking about how a lot of people nowadays don't do like team building or like view other people as like equals. Like they always are just self-centered and are looking at their own lives. It's just because of probably pride and what else? No.
Yeah, and you know, the thing that we're called to do there is just to like, if we see these people in our lives, reach out to them and try to like establish like a relationship and try to just show them, you know,
It's
what
just
they
hard.
could,
Yeah, it's just hard to put them
It
in
is.
their place without.
well,
Like
it's not your
anger.
job to put your,
Right. No.
But
But
you're
like
also not at fault if
explaining-
you do.
It's your job to
Yeah,
show the
yeah.
tools, and at
Yeah.
that point, it's on them to build it.
Explaining them what's right.
Yeah. Or
without-
not even, you don't even have to explain it, just showing examples of what's right.
You can
Yeah.
try to convey to them, but it's not your responsibility to ensure that they do even absorb that.
Yeah, because
you can't.
there's been examples from, at least in my own life, where like, there's been like times where I've tried to show people, or like not just like trying to show them, but just living my life, where like I've had other people look down on me because like they feel like I'm acting better than them because I'm doing selfless things, and I'm like, well, I mean, that's just how I'm choosing to live my life. Like it's not me portraying to be a good guy. Like if you have that sense of like, if you feel that way, then that's about you
That's
and how
envy and
you
jealousy
view. Yes,
speaking
that's
through
how you.
somebody
Yeah,
else.
it's just like shows how shallow the person is in general. I'm like, dude, like,
but yeah, in the same sense though, we're called to go like above and beyond, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
So we're called to just like, in like even when it's incredibly hard and it seems pointless, you know, we're called to put that to the side and still pursue them the way that we feel like Jesus would pursue them, right?
yeah,
And that's like an incredibly hard thing to ask and to do. And I don't, you know, a lot of times I don't do that, you know.
But every time you've neglected to do it, you realize that it's harder when you don't do it than if you did at least try to do it.
Yeah, it's always, it's just like, and like going just above and beyond for people is just so hard, but it's so important, It's just like such a good example.
And to go above and beyond yourself in that process.
Yeah.
You know, alongside. You
Grow
gotta-
yourself,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. We're just about, timer's about 5 minutes, so
Okay.
we can wrap it up here, or unless you have anything else to add. Blake's giving me the look smacks.
Okay, guys, tune in next time for
Time.
when we talk
Or
about
like subscribe on YouTube.
Spike ball.
Spikeball, why don't we have a podcast?
next stream will be outside.
Well, those would be cool to like do a podcast in like a park or something.
Yeah.
have a group of people playing spikeball in the back. Have them rotate out. Like show up like, God, maybe win that last one, boys.
I'm ready for that.
Yeah. Well, I just had a little question that was, how do you explain the fruit of the Spirit to a child? Claude's answer was, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Little kids just sitting there.
Tree, like a tree with many fruits on it, and you can choose to reach up and pick fruits off as you please, or you can let the fruits fall into your hands as they please.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say basket of fruits too.
Yeah.
Fruit salad.
The basket of fruits doesn't just have one fruit, you know?
Yeah.
When you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you don't want, the same thing every day. You're not in jail.
Factory meal.
No.
But you want to have, every part of what you like in your life and what you need in your life. So
Yeah.
it's
I see it just a little bit different. I see it as the, what
Rose
I would
colored
say
one.
is,
So-
you're the tree growing, and when you're growing,
You're
No.
choosing what fruit to grow.
you're not, no, because the tree doesn't choose what fruit to go, right?
They just grow slowly.
It just
their own
grows,
pace.
And then the fruit ends up coming along as a byproduct of that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say is, as a tree kind of grows up, and as you grow up, and as you grow closer to God, you'll see fruit in your own life. And it won't be because you forced it, or because you tried harder, but it's just because fruit ended up growing because you grew, because you as a tree grew, and therefore you had fruit. Fruit.
I feel like for my situation was like growing up, my dad gave me two analogies, and like one of them was like there's two wolves. One is everything that's good in the world that has all the values that like you strive for. What?
Have two sides.
Well, I mean, and then
Good side.
no, and then there's like a wolf that like represents like temptation and Satan, and like the one that wins is the one that you feed. So like
Yeah.
you have to choose to like try to strive to have those values instead of like just letting it go.
It's literally exactly like the movie I watched last night. I watched The Voices with Ryan Reynolds, and he has like a dog that talks to him and a cat that talks to him. But he's the only one that sees both of them talk to him. And the cat is evil and the dog is...
I feel like I've seen this.
Yeah, the dog is nice and the cat is like... The cat, aka like the devil, tries to tempt you that, you know, everything that you've done for me so far has gone right. Or like gone in the way that, you know, that makes you happy or whatever. And so like that's the
giving you
excuse that it makes
satisfaction.
every time.
But
Yeah,
it's at the
and then,
expense of others, or
yeah, and then like, you know, when you're falling off the edge, the cat's just like, well, everything that I've told you so far has gone right, so, you know, do the next thing.
How much time's left on the?
Keeps going
I
on.
think a minute 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good.
One of the things that I've recently seen that reminded me of that when you were talking about the cat was that I've been seeing a ton of stuff about like different like music artists and just like the industry in general where like while they're performing like they have like satanic images behind them and stuff, and I just thought that's like really interesting that that's been going on.
Yeah. It's
Like
just
one thing that like I
subliminal
recently
messages
saw
nowadays.
was I think it was Nipsey or something. No, Hobson.
Nipsey's dead.
No, Hobson. Sorry.
Nah, bro, it wasn't.
So Hobson.
No, not
No,
Hobson.
Hobson posted a video apologizing because apparently one of his concerts had images in the back, and that he didn't know about at all. And like someone brought it up to him, and he was like, "There's no way." He went and talked to like his crew, and they're like, "Yeah," and they're like,
Hobson's a Christian
I know,
rapper.
and they're
Yeah.
like, he was like, "That is not what I stand for. That person's been let go. They just don't understand the image that I'm trying to portray with Hobson."
Jeez.
But I thought that was just interesting that like that was up there. Like that's kind of crazy that
Yeah.
like it's just
W.
so
Hobson.
it's but yeah, that's just crazy that that's just being portrayed. Like the whole new Doja Cat stuff where like
Oh my
she's
gosh.
dressed up as a demon. Like bro, you gotta be kidding me on that.
Really?
Like-
she literally just came out with a new
Yeah.
song. I texted Ben and I was like, Doja Cat just came out with a new song. You know what it's called? And then Ben's like, what? And I said, Demons!
I mean, it's just stuff like
It's
that.
so
Where I'm like,
stupid.
it's so subtle, and then like, or it was subtle, and now it's just like in your face, like, and people defend it. They're like, oh, it's just
Yeah.
them being like a music artist,
like,
or
yeah.
like that's just them like being weird, but I still like their music and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, like you're supporting
Like-
that if you like you're trying to defend them.
Like Kai Cenat reacted to the Doja Cat video, and then he paused it like 10 seconds in, and then he turned it off, walked away from his chair, and Christian music just started playing.
Yeah.
He's just like singing it out loud.
Dude, all the clips of Ray are so funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'll pause it and start it anymore.
I got some on
Yeah, it's on more than half battery, so.
the. Okay.
That actually probably hurt more than it hurt me.
Probably hurt you more than it hurt me.
Kind of blasted you with my kneecap.
One thing I caught myself doing. I saw a video about this.
Blacking.
Yeah. With the whole like Doja Cat thing, also just like like going on more like the LGBTQ, all that is one thing that like I do, and I saw in this video was just that like I can like in my life see this and be like at least I'm not there, and then almost make that like feel better about myself about in my walk when realistically I should be, still like comparing myself to myself and like and striving for more instead of just like looking and being like, oh, look at those guys,
Mm-hmm.
and then being like, oh, I'm
You're
so
putting
much better.
negativity out.
Yeah,
Which you
yeah.
should try to mitigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not like in any way saying that we should
Yeah, of
be
course.
calling this out.
Right.
Obviously, we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like we should be any other sin. But yeah, it's easy. It's easy to fall into that. To be like,
Of course.
Yeah.
To be complicit because like either number one, it's not what they're like showing all the time, or just like it's subliminal where like it's not in your face until like someone points it out and you're like, no.
Well, yeah, there's like one video on the internet of the Weekend concert, one of the ones.
Yeah,
that was, like,
I think I know what
recent,
you're-
and
yeah.
it was just on like the strip on the back. It was just flashing the word Satan.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, people just don't realize that.
It just makes me glad that I don't listen to music nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, it happened back then too. I mean, not as prominent. You
Yeah.
don't see it on like the internet. And
Yeah.
everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, prominently back then, it was mostly in like heavy metal and all that.
Yeah, screamo.
Yeah, which I also don't listen to. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You see that will work in different ways.
Yeah.
Throughout the generations, and we were talking about this in the, again, 2 podcasts ago. There's different wars being fought and different tactics being enacted.
Of course.
But that's a whole different thing. But that's all for me on this. I don't know if you guys have any other statements, questions.
I think we're
Yeah.
Gucci.
No.
Well,
Alright.
I think we're good.
I guess I can pray really quick, and then we'll be good to go.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lead us out.
All right. Dear Lord, thank you for this podcast, Lord. Thank you for letting us get here and talk about things that we need to talk about, Lord, and let this impact anyone or anyone here talking or anyone here watching in the best way possible, Lord. And let us not only just speak these words like as though empty words, Lord, but to actually take them and use them in our own lives, Lord, and to apply them, Lord, and grow close to you. Thank you for these great men, and thank you for all these people on the other side of the screen, even though there might not be many, but it's all right. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Nice.
Cool.
All right. That was episode 8. Subscribe. Watch us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Deezer.
Link it right up here. Link it right up here.
Deezer. Audible.
Deezer.
Deezer. Deezer.
What the hell
Oh,
is Deezer? What's Deezer, bro?
I have no idea.
What?
We're on Deezer.